There is a fire within you, a quiet, unseen force that waits for your command. It doesn't shout. It doesn't beg. It doesn't demand attention. It simply waits patiently, silently, for you to decide that enough is enough, for you to look at your life and say, no more excuses. No more waiting. No more living beneath what I know I'm capable of. That moment, that decision, is where everything changes. Power isn't given. It's not handed to you by circumstance or luck or talent. It's built in the silence, in the struggle when no one is watching. It's built in the mornings when you don't feel like starting, in the evenings when your body begs you to stop, in the moments when doubt whispers that your effort doesn't matter. That's where power is forged. Every moment you show up for yourself, you're shaping something invisible, your strength, not the kind of strength that flexes in front of a mirror, but the kind that holds you steady when the world tries to break you, the kind that keeps you moving when everyone else has stopped, the kind that says, I will not quit on myself. Not today, not ever. This strength doesn't arrive overnight. It doesn't come from a single moment of inspiration. It comes from the small, unsexy, unglamorous choices you make every single day. It's not about perfection. It's never been about perfection. It's about showing up when it's hard, when it's uncomfortable, when no one would blame you for taking the easy way out. Because consistency is the real secret. Consistency is not glamorous. It's not exciting every day. Some days it feels like trudging through mud, but it's strong and it works. Consistency builds trust. Trust with yourself. It teaches you that when you say you'll do something, you actually do it. And that trust, that self-belief, becomes unshakable over time. The world is filled with people who start strong, who make bold promises to themselves and others. But the world remembers those who finish, those who stay when the excitement fades and only the work remains. You are here because something inside you refuses to settle, refuses to accept a life lived at half speed, half committed, half awake. You know there's more. You feel it, and that feeling and that inner knowing is always your compass. It will guide you through the darkness, through the doubt, through the days when progress feels invisible. This audiobook is not about quick fixes or magic formulas. It's about the unglamorous, powerful truth that you become strong by doing the work no one sees, by holding yourself accountable when no one else is watching, by choosing discipline over distraction, focus over comfort, and persistence over perfection. The fire within you is already burning. It has always been there. Your only job is to stop doubting it. Stop smothering it with fear and excuses. Feed it, protect it, let it grow. Because the world needs what you're capable of becoming, not the polished, filtered version you think people want to see. But the real you, the one who rises after every fall, who fights through every storm, who refuses to give up even when giving up would be easier. That version of you is waiting, and it's time to rise again. You've been knocked down before, maybe more times than you can count. You've felt the weight of disappointment, the sting of failure, the quiet shame of giving up on promises you made to yourself. But here's what you need to understand. Falling doesn't define you. Staying down does. Every person you admire, every story that inspires you, every achievement that moves you, they all share one truth. They didn't succeed because they never fell. They succeeded because they refused to stay fallen. They got up, again, and again, and again. They built themselves in private. In the early mornings and late nights when motivation was gone and only discipline remained, they chose the hard path, not because it was easy, but because they knew it was worth it, and now it's your turn. This journey won't be comfortable. Growth never is. There will be moments when you question everything, when you wonder if you're strong enough, smart enough, worthy enough. But those moments don't define your limit. They reveal your potential. Because real power isn't born in comfort. It's born in the space between who you are and who you're becoming. In that gap, that uncomfortable, uncertain space, you'll find your strength. You'll discover what you're truly made of. Not what you think you're made of, not what others told you, but what you prove to yourself through action. This audiobook is your companion on that journey, a reminder when you forget, a guide when you're lost, a voice that tells you keep going, not because it will be easy, but because you are capable, Not because the path is clear, but because you have everything you need to figure it out. Not because you won't fall again, but because you now know you will always rise. The inner fire is ready. The question is, are you? Are you ready to stop waiting for permission? To stop looking for signs? To stop asking if you're good enough? Are you ready to decide, right here, right now, that your life is worth fighting for? Because once you make that decision, everything changes. The world shifts. Your energy shifts. Your future shifts. You stop being a passenger in your own life and become the driver. And that is when you truly begin to rise. So take a breath. Center yourself. And let's begin. This is your moment. This is your time. Rise again. Chapter 1. Power in the struggle. Power is built in the moments when no one is clapping for you. When your effort feels unseen. When your progress feels slow. When doubt whispers that maybe you're wasting your time. That's where real strength is forged. Not on the stage. Not in front of the camera. Not when everyone is watching and cheering. But in the quiet hours. In the solitude. In the moments when you're the only witness to your own commitment. That's where champions are made. Every day you choose to show up. You train your mind to trust yourself. You teach your body to follow through. You prove to your soul that you mean what you say. And over time, that trust becomes unbreakable, because the world is full of people who talk about their dreams, who post their goals, who make big promises, but talk is easy. Promises are cheap. Dreams without action are just fantasies. What separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck isn't talent. It's not intelligence. It's not even luck. It's the willingness to do the work when no one is watching, to show up when it's inconvenient, when it's uncomfortable, when every part of you wants to quit. That's the difference. No excuses. No waiting for motivation. Because motivation won't save you. Discipline will. Motivation is a spark. It ignites you. It gets you started. And that's beautiful. But discipline is the fuel that keeps you burning long after that spark fades. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't make exceptions. It simply shows up every single day and does what needs to be done. When you're tired, discipline lifts you. When you're scared, discipline steadies you. When you're lost, discipline guides you. It's not exciting. It's not sexy, but it's powerful beyond measure. Each small act of discipline builds a foundation that cannot be shaken. Every decision to push forward is another brick in your future, a future that others can't see yet, but you can feel it forming. Think about it. Every morning you wake up and choose effort over ease. You're building. Every time you resist the urge to quit, you're building. Every moment you say not today to distraction and yes to focus, you're building something that will outlast any obstacle. The struggle is not your enemy. The struggle is your teacher. It shows you what you're made of. It reveals your limits, and then it shows you how to break through them. Most people run from struggle. They avoid discomfort at all costs. They choose the path of least resistance, and they wonder why their lives never change. But you're different. You understand something they don't. You understand that growth lives on the other side of comfort, that strength is born in resistance. That power comes from pushing through when everything inside you says stop. The struggle is where you discover who you really are, not who you pretend to be, not who others think you are, but who you become when no one is there to judge you, when no one is there to save you, when it's just you, your goal, and the space between. That's sacred ground. That's where transformation happens. You don't need an audience for that. You don't need validation or applause. You just need to show up. Day after day, moment after moment, even when it feels like nothing is happening, even when the results seem far away. Because here's the truth. Results are lagging indicators. They show up later. Sometimes much later. But the work you're doing right now is in the struggle, in the silence, as it's compounding every rep, every hour, every choice. It's all adding up. You just can't see it yet, and that's okay. You don't need to see it to trust it. You don't need proof to keep going. You need faith. Faith in the process. Faith in yourself. Faith that the struggle is not punishing you. It's preparing you for the life you've been asking for the person you're becoming, for the future that's waiting on the other side of your persistence. So when the work feels hard, remember it's supposed to. When progress feels slow, remember it's happening. When no one notices your effort, remember you're not doing this for them. You're doing this for you, for your future, for the promise you made to yourself that you would not give up. And that promise, that commitment, is more powerful than any obstacle you'll ever face. Because obstacles are temporary. But the strength you build overcoming them, that's permanent. It stays with you. It shapes you. It becomes part of your identity. You become someone who doesn't quit, someone who doesn't fold under pressure, someone who looks at challenges and says, "Bring it on. I've been through worse, and I'm still standing." That's the power of the struggle. It doesn't break you. It builds you. It strips away the weak parts and leaves only what's strong. It burns away doubt and fear and replaces them with certainty and courage, but only if you stay in it. Only if you refuse to run. Most people quit right before the breakthrough, right before the magic happens. They endure the pain, put in the work, and then walk away just as the universe was about to reward them. Don't be that person. Stay in the struggle. Embrace it. Let it shape you. Because on the other side of this pain is a version of you that's unstoppable. A version that knows and without question that you can handle anything life throws at you, that you're stronger than your circumstances, wiser than your fears, more capable than you ever imagined. But you'll only meet that version by walking through the fire, not around it, through it. Every day you push through resistance. You're one step closer to that version of yourself. Every day you choose discipline over distraction. You're claiming your power, and one day, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day, you'll look back and realize something profound. The struggle wasn't the obstacle. The struggle was the path. It was never in your way. It was the way. And everything you've been through, every hardship you've endured, every moment you wanted to quit but didn't, it was all building you into someone who cannot be stopped, someone who rises, someone who endures, someone who wins, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. And that strength, that power, no one can ever take from you. It's yours, forever. So keep going. Keep showing up. Keep doing the work that no one sees, because the world will see it eventually. They'll see the results. They'll see the transformation. But by then, you won't need their validation, because you'll know the truth. You'll know what it took. You'll know who you had to become, and that knowledge, that quiet, unshakable knowing, is the greatest power of all. The power in the struggle isn't just about building success. It's about building you into someone you're proud of, someone you trust, someone you respect. And that is worth every moment of difficulty. So when the days get hard, don't curse the struggle. Thank it, because it's giving you something most people will never have. The privilege of becoming who you were always meant to be. Rise through the struggle, and let it make you unstoppable. There's a certain beauty in the grind, a quiet dignity in refusing to quit. When the alarm goes off and your body begs for 5 more minutes, and you get up anyway. When your mind says, "You've done enough for today," and you do 1 more rep, write 1 more page, take 1 more step. Those moments might seem small, insignificant even, but they're not. They're everything. Because success isn't built in the big moments. It's built in the tiny decisions that no one sees. The decision to stay when leaving would be easier. The decision to focus when distractions are everywhere. The decision to believe in yourself when the evidence isn't there yet. These moments are your currency, your investment, your deposit into a future that's being built right now. And the beautiful thing, you're the only one who can make these deposits. No one can do the work for you. No one can believe for you. No one can push for you. This is your journey, your responsibility, your power. And yes, it's lonely sometimes. The path of growth often is. Because while others are sleeping in, you're up grinding. While others are scrolling mindlessly, you're learning, building, creating. While others are making excuses, you're making progress. It's lonely until it's not, until the results start showing, until people start noticing, until your life begins to reflect the work you put in when no one was watching, and then they'll say you're lucky, talented, gifted. They'll never know about the mornings you didn't want to start, the nights you couldn't sleep because doubt kept you awake, the moments you cried because it felt too hard. They won't see that part, and that's okay, because you're not doing this for recognition. You're doing this for transformation. You're doing this because you know deep in your soul that you're capable of more. More than your current circumstances suggest. More than your past would indicate. More than your fear would allow. And the only way to claim that more is through the struggle, through the resistance, through the discomfort, through the moments that test everything you've got. That's where power is forged. Think of iron. To become steel, it must be heated, hammered, and shaped under extreme pressure. The process is violent, uncomfortable, intense. But what emerges is something stronger, sharper, more valuable than what went in. You are that iron, and the struggle is the forge. Every challenge you face is another strike of the hammer. Every setback is more heat. Every moment of doubt is the pressure. And when the process is complete, you won't just be stronger, you'll be unbreakable, but you have to stay in the fire. You have to endure the process, because if you pull out too early, you'll never reach your full potential. You'll be almost strong, almost ready, almost there. And almost doesn't change lives. Almost doesn't build legacies. Almost doesn't give you the life you dream about. Only complete does that. Only finished does that. Only I didn't quit does that. So when it hurts, remember, pain is temporary. But quitting is permanent. When it's hard, remember, hard is where growth happens. Easy keeps you the same. When it feels impossible, remember, impossible is just unfamiliar. Once you do it, it becomes possible forever. You've already survived every hard day you've ever had. Every moment that tried to break you, you're still here. Still standing. Still fighting, that's proof. Undeniable proof that you're stronger than you think. So stop underestimating yourself. Stop waiting for permission. Stop hoping for an easier path. The path is the path. And your power is in walking it. Step by step, day by day, moment by moment. No shortcuts, no hacks. No magic pills. Just you, your commitment, and the relentless refusal to give up. That's the formula. It's simple. It's not easy, but it works. And when you finally reach the other side, when you look back at everything you've overcome, you'll realize something beautiful. The struggle wasn't trying to stop you. It was trying to shape you into someone capable of handling the success you're about to receive, into someone worthy of the life you've been building, into someone who knows without a doubt then that you can do hard things because you've already done them. You're doing them right now, and you'll keep doing them, not because you have to, but because you've become someone who doesn't quit, someone who doesn't fold, someone who rises again and again. And again, that's power, real, lasting, unshakable power, and it's built in the struggle. One difficult day at a time, one hard decision at a time, one moment of discipline at a time. This is your path. This is your power. This is your time. Embrace the struggle, trust the process, and rise. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the question that haunts every person in the struggle. What if I'm doing all this work and it doesn't matter? What if I give everything I've got and still fail? That fear is real. It's valid. And it's completely human. But here's what you need to understand. The work is never wasted. Even if the outcome isn't what you hoped for, the person you become in the process is the real prize. Because success isn't just about reaching the goal. It's about who you have to become to reach it. Think about it. If someone handed you your dream life tomorrow, the success, the wealth, the recognition, but you were still the same person you are today, would you be able to handle it? Would you be able to sustain it? Would you be able to appreciate it? Probably not. Because big success requires a big version of you. And that version doesn't exist yet. It has to be built, shaped, forged through experience, challenge, and growth. The struggle is building that version. Right now, in real time. Every day you show up, you're becoming someone capable of handling more. More responsibility, more pressure, more success, more life. And that transformation, that becoming, is happening whether you see it or not. You can't skip this part. You can't fast forward through it. You can't buy your way past it. You have to live it, experience it, endure it, because there are no shortcuts to strength. There are no hacks for resilience. There are no tricks for building character. Those things are earned. One difficult day at a time, and yes, it's hard. It's supposed to be hard. If it were easy, everyone would do it. Everyone would be strong, focused, disciplined, successful. But they're not. Because most people quit when it gets hard. They quit when the results don't come fast enough, when the work feels too heavy, when the doubt gets too loud but not you. You're still here, still reading, still fighting, still believing that there's something more waiting for you, and there is. I promise you there is, but you have to earn it. You have to prove to yourself, not to anyone else, that you're worthy of it. Not because you're lacking, not because you're not enough, but because the universe rewards those who persist, those who keep showing up, those who keep pushing, those who refuse to quit no matter how many times they fall. That's the game, and you're playing it right now. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you win. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you win. Every time you choose growth over safety, you win. These are daily wins, invisible wins. Wins that no one sees but you. But they're adding up, compounding, building momentum. And one day, maybe sooner than you think, that momentum will tip. The scale will shift. The breakthrough will come, and everything you've been working for will start to materialize, not because luck finally found you, not because the universe decided to bless you, but because you stayed in the struggle long enough for the seeds you planted to grow, because you watered them every day. You protected them from doubt. You believed in them when there was no proof they would bloom, and now they're blooming. Now they're bearing fruit. Now the harvest is here, but here's the key. You would have never made it to harvest if you quit during the planting season. Most people quit during planting. They put in a little work, see no results, and walk away. They never give their seeds a chance to grow. They never give their effort a chance to compound. They never give themselves a chance to become who they need to become. Don't be most people. Be the one who stays, the one who endures, the one who trusts the process even when the process feels broken. Because it's not broken. It's working. You're just in the messy middle where progress is invisible. But invisible doesn't mean non-existent. It just means you can't see it yet. Trust it anyway. Believe anyway. Keep going anyway. Because the struggle is not a sign that you're on the wrong path. It's a sign that you're on the right one. Easy paths don't lead to extraordinary places. Comfortable journeys don't create legendary stories. The struggle, the resistance, the difficulty, the pain. That's what makes the destination worth it. That's what makes your story powerful. Not because you had it easy, but because you had it hard and you didn't quit. So when the struggle feels overwhelming, pause, breathe, and remember why you started. Remember the vision that pulled you in, the dream that won't let you sleep, the future that's calling your name. That future is real. It's waiting, but it's waiting for a version of you that doesn't exist yet, a version that's being built right now, in the struggle, in the pain, in the daily grind. So don't waste this time wishing it away. Use it, embrace it, let it shape you, because the struggle is temporary, but the strength you build, that's forever. The discipline you develop, that's yours to keep. The character you forge, that's who you become. And that version of you, in a strong, focused, unbreakable, is worth every moment of difficulty. So rise. Keep rising, no matter how many times you fall, because the power is in the struggle, and the struggle is making you unstoppable. Let's talk about something most people don't understand, the gift of anonymity. Right now, while you're in the struggle, while you're building in silence, you have something precious: freedom. Freedom from expectation, freedom from judgment, freedom to fail, learn, and grow without the weight of an audience. This is your training ground, your laboratory, your safe space to become. No one is watching your practice sessions. No one is counting your failures. No one is keeping score of how many times you fall. That's not a curse. That's a blessing. Because pressure can either forge you or fracture you. And right now, you get to build your foundation without that pressure. You get to make mistakes in private, to experiment, to discover what works for you without explaining yourself to anyone. Use this time wisely. This is when you develop your rituals, your systems, your non-negotiables. This is when you figure out what discipline actually means for you. Not what it means in books or videos, but what it means in your real daily life. What time do you need to wake up to feel in control of your day? What habits, when practiced consistently, make you feel strong and focused? What boundaries do you need to set to protect your energy and your goals? These aren't small questions. These are the questions that will determine the trajectory of your life, and the struggle gives you the space to answer them. Honestly, authentically, without pretense. So don't rush through this phase. Don't wish it away. Don't pray for it to end. Instead, mine it for everything it's worth. Every difficult moment is data. Every setback is feedback. Every time you want to quit but don't, you're collecting evidence of your own strength. You're building a resume of resilience that no one can see yet, but you'll need later. Because when success comes, and it will test you in different ways. It will bring new pressures, new expectations, new reasons to doubt yourself, and the only thing that will carry you through that phase is the strength you're building right now. The strength that comes from doing hard things when no one is watching. The strength that comes from keeping promises to yourself when breaking them would be easier. The strength that comes from believing in your vision when the world hasn't validated it yet. That strength is real. It's being forged right now. In the struggle, in the silence, in the unsexy, unglamorous work of showing up every single day. And one day, maybe not today, maybe not this year, but one day, you'll need that strength. You'll face a moment that requires everything you've got. A moment where quitting would make sense, where giving up would be understandable, where everyone would forgive you for walking away, but you won't walk away, because you'll remember who you became in the struggle. You'll remember the mornings you got up when your body screamed no. You'll remember the days you pushed through when motivation was nowhere to be found. You'll remember the nights you kept going when doubt whispered that you were wasting your time, and you'll look at that moment like that test and you'll smile because you've been tested before. You've been broken before. You've been pushed to your limit before. And every single time you rose, that's who you are now. Someone who rises not because life is easy, not because the path is clear, not because you always know what to do, but because you've trained yourself to rise. You've practiced it. You've lived it. You've become it. And that identity, that unshakable sense of self, is built in moments like these, in the struggle, in the grind, in the daily decision to keep moving forward even when forward feels impossible. So if you're in the struggle right now, congratulations. You're exactly where you need to be. This is not a detour. This is the path. Every person you admire has walked it. Every success story you've heard includes this chapter. The chapter where no one believed, where nothing seemed to work, where quitting made perfect sense, but they didn't quit. They stayed. They pushed. They rose, and now it's your turn to prove to yourself what you're made of. Your turn to build the foundation that will support the life you've been dreaming about. Your turn to become someone who doesn't just talk about strength, but embodies it. The struggle is not your enemy. It's your training, your education, your initiation. It's the fire that burns away everything that's not truly you. The fear, the doubt, the weakness, the excuses. All of it gets burned away, leaving only what's real, what's strong, what's true. And what remains is powerful beyond measure, a version of you that's been tested and proven, a version that knows without question and that you can handle anything, a version that's ready for the life that's waiting on the other side of this struggle. So don't run from it. Don't avoid it. Don't wish it away. Walk through it. Embrace it. Let it make you into who you're meant to be, because the power you're looking for, it's not out there. It's not in some book or course or secret. It's in you. It's always been in you. And the struggle is simply the key that unlocks it, so unlock it. Claim it, own it, and rise. Chapter 2. Focus or Fallen. A world built to distract you. Focus is your superpower. Every meaningless headline, every notification, every voice that demands your attention, they all steal a piece of your future. One click at a time, one scroll at a time, one moment at a time, and before you know it, hours have passed. Days have passed. Years have passed. And you're no closer to your goals than when you started, not because you're not capable, not because you're not smart enough or talented enough, but because your attention was everywhere except where it needed to be. Guard your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Your attention builds your world. Whatever you give energy to grows stronger. Feed your fear, and it grows. Feed your doubt, and it multiplies. Feed your distractions, and they consume you. But feed your focus, and you become unstoppable. So protect it, guard it fiercely. Treat it like the precious resource it is, because in a world of infinite noise, your ability to focus is what separates you from the crowd. It's what allows you to go deep while others stay shallow. It's what allows you to build while others consume. It's what allows you to create a life of meaning while others drift through a life of distraction. Feed your focus and starve your distractions. Cut out the noise. Turn off the notifications. Set boundaries with people who drain your energy. Stop saying yes to things that don't align with your vision. Stop giving your time to things that don't deserve it. Your time is limited. Your energy is limited. Your attention is limited. And every moment you spend on something that doesn't matter is a moment stolen from something that does. When you train your mind to ignore the noise, you begin to see clearly. The fog lifts. The path becomes visible. The next step reveals itself. You stop chasing approval from people who don't understand your journey. You stop explaining your dreams to people who will never support them. You stop apologizing for wanting more from life because you realize something powerful. Their opinion doesn't build your future. Your focus does. Their validation doesn't create your success. Your discipline does. Their belief in you doesn't matter. Your belief in yourself is the only thing that counts. Focus makes you free. Free from the need to perform for others. Free from the pressure to fit in. Free from the fear of judgment. Because when you're truly focused on your path, external noise becomes irrelevant. It doesn't disappear. It's still there, but it no longer controls you. You hear it, acknowledge it, and move on. Because you have something more important to do. You have a vision to build, a life to create, a future to claim, and that requires every ounce of focus you can muster. Think about the greatest achievements in human history. The inventions, the discoveries, the masterpieces. None of them were created by people scrolling through their phones. None of them were built by people who were too busy to focus. They were created by individuals who removed distractions, locked in and did the work for hours, for days, for years. They said no to everything that didn't serve their mission. They protected their time like it was sacred because it was, and yours is too. Every moment you have is a chance to move forward or fall back, to build or to waste, to focus or to drift. The choice is yours, and you make it every single day, every single hour, every single minute. What are you choosing right now? Are you feeding your focus? Or are you feeding your distractions? Are you building your future? Or are you borrowing time from it? Are you moving toward your goals? Or are you standing still, convinced that you're busy? Because busy and productive are not the same thing. Busy is responding to every message immediately. Productive is protecting your deep work time. Busy is attending every meeting, accepting every invitation. Productive is saying no to everything that doesn't align with your priorities. Busy is filling your day with shallow tasks that make you feel accomplished. Productive is doing the hard, important work that actually moves the needle. You can be busy your entire life and never build anything meaningful, but you cannot be focused and fail to make progress. It's impossible. Focus is the ultimate force multiplier. It turns small efforts into massive results. It turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. It turns dreams into reality, but it requires sacrifice. It requires saying no. It requires disappointing people who want your time but don't deserve it. And that's hard, because we're wired to seek approval, to avoid conflict, to keep everyone happy. But you cannot keep everyone happy and still build the life you want. You have to choose, and the choice is simple even if it's not easy. Choose focus. Choose your vision. Choose your future. Let the rest fall away. The people who matter will understand. The ones who don't weren't meant to be part of your journey anyway. Your focus is not selfish. It's necessary. You're not ignoring people because you don't care. You're protecting your energy because you care deeply about what you're building. And what you're building requires everything you've got. Every ounce of attention, every moment of clarity, every second of deep, uninterrupted focus. That's the price of greatness. That's the cost of transformation. That's the requirement for success. And if you're willing to pay that price, there's nothing you cannot achieve. But if you let distractions win, if you let noise dominate your mind, if you let other people's priorities become yours, you'll look back one day and wonder where all the time went. You'll wonder why your dreams stayed dreams, why your goals stayed goals, why your potential stayed potential. And the answer will be simple. You lost focus, not because you weren't capable, but because you let the world steal your attention. Don't let that happen. Don't let years pass in a blur of busyness and distraction. Decide right now, today, that your focus is non-negotiable. that your time is sacred, that your attention is the most valuable thing you own, and start treating it that way. Turn off the noise, silence the critics, ignore the trends, lock in, go deep, do the work. Because focus is not just about productivity. It's about identity. When you focus, you become someone who finishes what they start. Someone who doesn't get distracted by shiny objects or short-term pleasures. Someone who values long-term fulfillment over instant gratification. That's who you're becoming. Someone focused, someone disciplined, someone unstoppable. And the world needs that version of you, not the scattered, distracted, overwhelmed version, but the focused, clear, powerful version. The version that knows what they want and moves toward it with unwavering commitment. The version that doesn't waver when challenges arise. That doesn't quit when progress slows. That doesn't fold under pressure. That version is being built right now. Through every moment of focused effort, through every decision to ignore distractions and do what matters, you're building it, choice by choice, moment by moment. And one day you'll look up and realize you've become someone completely different, someone who doesn't waste time, someone who doesn't chase distractions, someone who builds instead of consumes. That transformation starts with focus, and focus starts with the decision to take your life seriously, to treat your time like the limited resource it is, to guard your attention like your future depends on it. Because it does. Your future is being created right now in this moment by what you choose to focus on. So choose wisely, choose intentionally, choose powerfully, focus and rise. There's something profound that happens when you truly commit to focus. Your world changes, not the external world, and that stays the same, but your internal world, your perception, your clarity, your sense of purpose. It transforms. You start seeing opportunities you couldn't see before. Solutions to problems that seemed impossible suddenly become obvious. Connections between ideas that were once hidden reveal themselves. This isn't magic. It's the natural result of a focused mind. When your attention is scattered, your brain operates in survival mode. It's constantly scanning for threats, processing inputs, jumping from thought to thought. There's no bandwidth left for creativity, for insight, for breakthrough thinking. But when you eliminate distractions and focus deeply, your brain shifts into a different state. A state where deep thinking becomes possible, where complex problems can be solved, where innovation emerges. This is where the best work happens, where the greatest ideas are born, where transformation occurs. But you can only access this state through sustained focus, not for 5 minutes, not for 15 minutes, but for hours. Long, uninterrupted stretches of time where you're completely immersed in what you're doing. This is called flow state, and it's one of the most powerful experiences available to humans. When you're in flow, time disappears. Effort feels effortless. Work feels like play. You're fully present, fully engaged, fully alive. And the output? Extraordinary. You produce in one flow session what might take days of distracted work. But here's the catch. You can't force flow. You can only create conditions for it. And the primary condition? Uninterrupted focus, no phone. No interruptions. No multitasking. Just you and the work. That's the gateway. That's how you access your highest potential. And the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. Your brain adapts. Your discipline strengthens. Your ability to focus deepens. Until one day, focus isn't something you have to force. It's just who you are. Someone who goes deep. Someone who does the work that matters. Someone who builds instead of consumes. That's the version of you that wins. Not because you're smarter or more talented, but because you're more focused, more committed, more willing to protect your attention. And in a world where everyone is distracted, that makes you exceptional. Now let's address something important. The guilt. The guilt of saying no. The guilt of missing out. The guilt of not responding immediately. This guilt is real, and it can sabotage your focus if you let it. Because when you start protecting your time, people will notice. They'll text and you won't respond right away. They'll invite you places and you'll decline. They'll want your attention and you'll say, not right now. And some of them won't understand. Some will be offended. Some will pull away. Let them. Because the people who truly matter will respect your boundaries. They'll understand that your focus isn't rejection and it's self-respect, that your boundaries aren't walls, they're bridges to the future you're building. And the people who don't understand, they're not your people. They're not meant to walk this path with you, and that's okay. Not everyone is supposed to be in your life forever. Some people are there for a season, and when that season ends, you have to let them go, even if it hurts, even if it's uncomfortable, because holding on to people who drain your energy, who disrespect your boundaries, who don't support your vision, that's a luxury you can't afford. Not if you're serious about your goals. Your focus is too valuable. Your time is too limited. Your energy is too precious. Spend it on people who add to your life, not subtract from it. On people who inspire you, challenge you, support you. On people who respect your journey and cheer for your success. Those are your people. Protect those relationships, nurture them, invest in them, and let the rest fall away without guilt. Because guilt is just fear dressed up as consideration. Fear of disappointing others. Fear of being judged. Fear of being alone. But here's the truth. You're never alone when you're aligned with your purpose. Your purpose is your companion. Your vision is your friend. Your future self is waiting for you. And getting to them requires focus. Unwavering, uncompromising focus, so release the guilt. You're not being selfish. You're being intentional. You're not ignoring people. You're prioritizing your growth. You're not missing out. You're leveling up. And when you reach the level you're working toward, you'll be able to show up for others in ways you can't right now. With more resources, more wisdom, more capacity to help, but you can't give what you don't have. You can't help others if you're drowning yourself. So put on your oxygen mask first. Build your foundation. Secure your future. Then reach back and help others do the same. That's not selfishness. That's strategy. That's wisdom. That's how real change happens. One focused person at a time. Building, growing, rising, and inspiring others to do the same. Not through words, but through example. Through the life you build. Through the transformation you embody. Through the results you create. That's your legacy. Not what you say, but what you do. What you build. What you become, and it all starts with focus. With the decision to take your attention back from a world that wants to steal it. With the commitment to protect your time like the limited resource it is. With the discipline to say no to distractions and yes to what truly matters. This is your path. This is your power. This is your moment. The world doesn't need another distracted person mindlessly scrolling through life. It needs you, focused, clear, committed. Building something that matters, creating something meaningful. Living with intention, that's who you're becoming. Someone who doesn't fall to distractions. Someone who rises through focus. Focus or fall. The choice is yours. Every single day, choose focus. Choose purpose. Choose power and rise. Let's talk about the cost of distraction, because most people don't understand what they're really losing. They think it's just time, just a few minutes here and there, just a quick scroll, just one episode, just a moment, but it's never just a moment. Every distraction carries a hidden cost, a switching cost, a re-entry cost. When you break your focus, it doesn't just pause your progress, it resets it. Studies show it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully refocus after a distraction. Think about that. One notification, one interruption, one quick check of your phone, and you've just lost 23 minutes of deep work. Now multiply that by how many times you get distracted in a day. 5 times? 10 times? 20 times? That's hours of potential progress. Gone, vanished, stolen by distraction. And for what? A like, a comment? A piece of news that won't matter tomorrow? The math is brutal. But it's real. Your distractions are costing you more than you think. More than time. They're costing you momentum, progress, results. They're costing you the life you say you want. Because you can't build something great with scattered attention. You can't create a masterpiece in 5-minute increments between distractions. You can't develop deep skills, solve complex problems, or do meaningful work when your mind is constantly fragmented. Deep work requires deep focus, and deep focus requires protection. Protection from notifications, protection from interruptions, protection from the endless stream of content designed to hook you, because make no mistake, the algorithms are designed to distract you. Social media platforms are engineered by the smartest minds in technology for one purpose: to capture and keep your attention. They study your behavior. They learn what makes you click. They feed you exactly what will keep you scrolling. It's not an accident. It's not innocent. It's a battle for your mind. And if you're not aware of it, you've already lost. But awareness is power. And now that you know, you can fight back, you can reclaim your attention. You can take back control. You can decide that your focus is not for sale, that your time is not a commodity, that your mind is your sanctuary, and you can start building walls around it. Digital walls, mental walls, boundaries that protect your most valuable resource. Delete apps that don't serve you. Turn off notifications that don't matter. Create space for deep, uninterrupted work. Schedule blocks of time where nothing, absolutely nothing, is allowed to interrupt you. No phone. No messages, no emails. Just you and the work that matters. This is how greatness is built. In protected time. In focused energy. In sustained attention. Not in the gaps between distractions. But in deliberate, focused, uninterrupted effort. And yes, it's hard. Especially at first, your brain will resist. It's been trained to expect constant stimulation, to crave the dopamine hit of notifications. Breaking that pattern feels uncomfortable. Your mind will wander. You'll feel restless. You'll want to check your phone, but resist. Push through. Stay focused. Because on the other side of that discomfort is a superpower. The ability to think deeply, to work intensely, to create powerfully. The ability to do in hours what takes others days, to accomplish in weeks what takes others months. That's the power of focus, and it's available to you, if you're willing to protect it. Now let's talk about the flip side, the power of sustained attention. When you focus on something consistently over time, magic happens. Not the kind of magic you see in movies, but the real magic of compounding effort. Every day you focus on improving a skill, you get slightly better. Every day you focus on building a business, it gets slightly stronger. Every day you focus on your health, your body gets slightly more resilient. These improvements are small, almost invisible, easy to dismiss, but they compound. Over weeks, over months, over years, and one day you wake up and realize you're not the same person anymore. You've become someone capable of things you couldn't imagine before, not because of one big effort, but because of consistent, focused effort over time. That's the secret successful people understand. They don't look for shortcuts. They don't chase hacks. They don't wait for motivation. They simply focus on what matters and do it consistently. Day after day, week after week, year after year, and the results speak for themselves. But here's what most people miss. Focus isn't just about what you do. It's also about what you don't. To every successful person has a longer don't-do list than a to-do list. They say no to good opportunities so they can say yes to great ones. They decline invitations that don't align with their goals. They skip trends that don't serve their vision. They protect their time ruthlessly because they know time spent on the wrong things is time stolen from the right things. This is wisdom. This is maturity. This is power. Knowing what to ignore is just as important as knowing what to focus on. Maybe more important, because the world will always offer you more opportunities than you have time for. More projects, more ideas, more collaborations, more possibilities, and they all sound good. They all seem worth pursuing, but they're not. Most of them are distractions dressed up as opportunities. Your job is to discern the difference, to see through the noise, to identify the few things that truly matter, and then focus on those things with everything you've got. Ignore the rest. Let them pass. Trust that you're not missing out, because you're not. You're gaining something far more valuable. Progress. Real, tangible, meaningful progress toward the life you actually want. Not the life others think you should want. Not the life that looks good on social media, but the life that feels right in your soul. The life that aligns with your deepest values. The life that when you're 80 years old, you'll be proud to have lived. That life requires focus. Unwavering, uncompromising, relentless focus. And it starts now. Today. This moment. With a decision. A commitment. A promise to yourself that you will no longer let distractions steal your future. That you will no longer let noise dominate your mind. That you will no longer let other people's priorities become yours. From this moment forward, your focus is sacred, your time is protected, your attention is yours, and you will use it to build something beautiful, something meaningful, Something that matters, not someday, now. Focus and rise. Chapter 3. Truth and ownership power begins with honesty, not the kind you show others. Not the polished version you post online. Not the story you tell at parties. But the kind you whisper to yourself when no one else can hear. The raw, unfiltered truth about where you are, how you got here, and what you've been avoiding. That truth, uncomfortable as it may be, is the foundation of all real change. Because you cannot fix what you won't acknowledge. You cannot heal what you refuse to see. You cannot grow beyond what you're unwilling to admit. Honesty means admitting when you've been lazy, when you've chosen comfort over growth, when you've hit snooze instead of showing up, when you've let days turn into weeks, turn into months of empty promises. It means admitting when fear has guided your choices, when you've played small because playing big felt too risky, when you've stayed in situations you've outgrown because leaving felt too scary, when you've silenced your dreams because other people's doubts felt louder than your own belief. It means admitting when you've played small because it was safe, when you've dimmed your light so others wouldn't feel threatened, when you've hidden your ambition because you were afraid of judgment, when you've settled for less because reaching for more meant risking failure. These admissions hurt. They're supposed to, because the truth isn't meant to make you feel good. It's meant to make you free. Free from the stories you've been telling yourself. Free from the excuses that have kept you stuck. Free from the illusion that your circumstances control your destiny. You don't face these truths to punish yourself. You face them to become better. To strip away the lies, the rationalizations, the comfortable delusions that have kept you from your potential. Because once you see the truth, really see it, you can't unsee it. And that awareness creates a choice point. A moment where you decide, am I going to keep living this way or am I going to change? Most people avoid this moment. They push it away. They numb it with distractions. They bury it under busyness because facing the truth means taking responsibility, and responsibility is heavy. It means you can no longer blame your parents for how they raised you, your boss for not recognizing your talent, your circumstances for holding you back. It means looking in the mirror and admitting, I am where I am because of the choices I've made. Not all of them. Life isn't that simple. Bad things happen to good people. Circumstances matter. Luck plays a role. But within all of that, within the chaos and unfairness and randomness of life, there's a space. A space where your power lives. A space where your choices matter. A space where you control the outcome. And the moment you focus on that space, everything changes. Every time you take responsibility, you take your power back. You stop waiting for someone to rescue you. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop waiting for permission. You stop blaming your past for your present. You stop blaming others for your problems. You stop blaming circumstances for your results. And you start building the life you want, building the person you need to become, building the future you deserve. Not someday. Now. Today. With what you have. Where you are. Your life is your responsibility and fully, completely, always. Not your parents' responsibility. Not your partners, not your bosses, not the government's, not society's, yours. Every outcome. Every result. Every situation you find yourself in, even when it's not fair, even when you didn't cause it, even when you inherited it. It's still your responsibility to deal with it, to change it, to rise above it. Because that's what ownership means. Not that everything is your fault, but that everything is your responsibility. There's a difference. And understanding that difference is what separates victims from victors. Victims focus on fault. They focus on blame. They focus on who or what caused their problems, and they stay stuck. Because fixing blame doesn't fix problems. Victors focus on responsibility. They focus on what they can control. They focus on their next move, and they move forward. Because taking ownership creates momentum. Falling isn't your fault. Life happens. Circumstances change. Things go wrong, but getting up, that's your responsibility. Staying down is a choice. Getting bitter is a choice. Giving up is a choice, just like getting up is a choice. Learning from it is a choice. Becoming stronger is a choice. And those choices, the ones you make after you fall, those determine your trajectory, not the fall itself, but how you respond to it. So when life knocks you down, don't ask why me. Ask what now. Don't focus on who pushed you. Focus on how you'll stand. Don't waste energy blaming. Use that energy building, because every moment spent blaming is a moment not spent. Improving every second spent. Playing victim is a second you could be playing offense. Every breath spent complaining is a breath you could be using to create. The choice is always yours. Always, even when it doesn't feel like it. Even when circumstances feel overwhelming. Even when the odds seem impossible, you still have a choice. You always have a choice. Maybe not about what happens to you, but always about what you do with it. That's your power. That's your leverage. That's your way forward. Own it. Fully. Completely. Without reservation. Because the moment you take full ownership of your life, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. Not because obstacles disappear, but because you stop letting them define you. Not because you'll never fall again, but because you'll always get up. And that unshakable commitment to ownership is what transforms ordinary people into extraordinary ones. It's what turns dreamers into doers, talkers into builders, wishers into achievers. It's the foundation of all lasting success, all real growth, all meaningful change, and it starts with honesty, with truth, with looking at yourself, really looking and admitting what you see, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it, without judgment, without shame, without excuses, just pure, raw, honest assessment of where you are and how you got here. That's courage. That's strength. That's power. And once you have that clarity, that honest view of reality, you can start building from truth, not from fantasy, not from wishful thinking, not from the person you pretend to be, but from the person you actually are. With all your flaws and fears and failures, that's your starting point, not where you wish you were, where you actually are. And from that point, that honest, grounded, real point, you can go anywhere. You can become anyone. You can achieve anything. Because you're no longer fighting reality. You're working with it. You're no longer resisting the truth. You're using it as fuel. You're no longer running from yourself. You're building from yourself. And that alignment, that integrity between who you are and who you're becoming, that's where real power lives. In the space between acceptance and ambition. Between honesty and hope. Between where you are and where you're going. That space is sacred. That space is yours. That space is where you rise, so own it. Own all of it, the past, the present, the future. Own your mistakes. Own your choices. Own your results, not with shame, not with regret, but with power. The power that comes from knowing, I created this, and I can create something different. I got here, and I can get somewhere else. I am responsible, and that means I am capable. That's the truth, the deepest truth, the most powerful truth. You are responsible, and that makes you unstoppable. Own it, and rise. Let's dig deeper into what ownership actually looks like in practice. Because it's easy to talk about taking responsibility. It's harder to actually do it, especially when things go wrong, especially when you feel justified in your anger, especially when blaming someone else would be so much easier. But easy doesn't build character. Easy doesn't create strength. Easy doesn't change your life. Ownership does. Real ownership means looking at every area of your life and asking, what's my part in this? Not what's everyone else's part. Not how did circumstances create this, but what's my part? Your health, your relationships, your career, your finances, your happiness, all of it. What's your part? If you're out of shape, what's your part? Maybe you've been choosing comfort over discipline. Maybe you've been making excuses instead of making time. If your relationships are struggling, what's your part? Maybe you've been withdrawn. Maybe you've been blaming instead of communicating. Maybe you've been expecting people to read your mind. If your career isn't where you want it, what's your part? Maybe you've been coasting instead of growing. Maybe you've been waiting to be discovered instead of proving your value. These questions are uncomfortable. They're supposed to be, because they force you to look at the one common denominator in all your problems. You. Not to shame you, but to empower you. Because if you're part of the problem, you can be part of the solution. If your choices created this situation, your choices can create a different one. That's the gift of ownership. It puts the power back in your hands. Now, here's what ownership is not. It's not beating yourself up. It's not dwelling on past mistakes. It's not carrying shame like a badge. Ownership is acknowledging what is, learning from it, and choosing differently moving forward. It's saying, I made this choice. It didn't work. Now I'll make a different one. It's saying, I've been operating this way, It's not serving me. Now I'll operate differently. It's saying, this is where I am. It's not where I want to be. Now I'll move. Simple, clear, powerful. No drama, no excuses, no victim mentality. Just honest assessment and committed action. That's what separates people who grow from people who stay stuck. People who grow take ownership. They don't waste time defending their past or justifying their choices. They simply look at what's working, what's not, and adjust accordingly. People who stay stuck blame. They defend. They justify. They spend so much energy protecting their ego that they have no energy left for actual growth. And years pass, and nothing changes. Because they're still fighting the same battles, telling the same stories, making the same excuses. Don't be that person. Choose growth. Choose ownership. Choose power, even when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it's uncomfortable, because discomfort is just growth in disguise. Now let's talk about a specific area where ownership is crucial. Your emotions. Most people treat their emotions like the weather, like something that happens to them. I'm in a bad mood. I'm feeling unmotivated. I'm anxious today. As if these states are external conditions they have no control over, but that's not true. Your emotions are not random. They're not arbitrary. They're not beyond your control. They're the result of your thoughts, your focus, your interpretation of events, and all of those things. You can influence them. You can choose what you focus on. You can challenge your thoughts. You can reframe your interpretation. That doesn't mean you can flip a switch and feel happy when you're sad. Emotions don't work that way, but it does mean you have more agency than you think. If you're anxious, you can ask, what am I focusing on that's creating this anxiety? Is it serving me? What could I focus on instead? If you're unmotivated, you can ask, what's draining my energy? What would refuel it? What small action could create momentum? If you're overwhelmed, you can ask, what am I trying to control that I can't control? What can I control? What's the next smallest step? These questions shift you from passive to active, from victim to owner, from stuck to moving. And that shift, that simple shift in perspective, changes everything. Because when you own your emotions, you stop being controlled by them. You stop letting a bad mood ruin your entire day. You stop letting fear paralyze you. You stop letting doubt dictate your actions. Instead, you acknowledge the emotion, understand where it's coming from, and choose your response. That's emotional ownership. And it's a game changer. It doesn't mean you never feel negative emotions. You will. You're human. But it means those emotions don't run your life. You do. You feel them. You learn from them. And you move forward anyway. That's maturity. That's strength. That's power. And it's available to you right now. Not someday when you're better. Right now. All it requires is a decision. A commitment to stop blaming your emotions for your choices. To stop saying, I couldn't because I felt, and start saying, I felt, and I chose. That subtle shift in language reflects a massive shift in ownership, and that shift will transform your life. Here's another area where ownership is critical. Your standards. The standards you hold for yourself. The standards you accept from others. The standards you maintain in your work, your relationships, your life. These standards are yours to set, yours to enforce, yours to protect. If you're surrounded by people who drain you, that's a standard issue. If you're producing work you're not proud of, that's a standard issue. If you're tolerating behavior from others that you wouldn't tolerate from yourself, that's a standard issue. And the only person who can fix it is you. Not by changing others, not by waiting for circumstances to improve, but by raising your standards and living by them. That means saying no to things that don't align with who you're becoming. That means walking away from situations that violate your values. That means doing the work at the level you want to be known for, even when no one is watching. Because standards aren't about what you say. They're about what you accept. And what you accept, you teach others to repeat. If you accept mediocrity in your work, that becomes your reputation. If you accept disrespect in your relationships, that becomes your experience. If you accept less than you deserve, that becomes your reality. But if you own your standards, or if you raise them and enforce them consistently, your entire life shifts. Opportunities improve. Relationships deepen. Results multiply. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You stopped accepting what you didn't want and started demanding what you do. That's ownership. That's power. That's how you create a life you're proud of. One standard at a time. One boundary at a time. One choice at a time. So look at your life right now. Honestly. Without judgment. What are you accepting that you shouldn't? What standards have you let slip? What compromises have you made that don't serve you? Identify them. Acknowledge them. And decide right now, no more. From this moment forward, you own your standards. You enforce them. You protect them, not aggressively, not defensively, but firmly and clearly, because you know your worth. You know what you deserve, and you're no longer willing to settle. That's the essence of ownership. Knowing who you are and living accordingly, not perfectly, not flawlessly, but consistently, intentionally, powerfully. That's who you're becoming. Someone who owns their life, fully, completely, without apology. Someone who doesn't blame, doesn't excuse, doesn't hide. Someone who takes responsibility, takes action, takes control. That person is rising right now, with every honest admission, with every owned mistake, with every choice to be better. You're becoming someone unstoppable, not because you're perfect, but because you're honest. And honesty, brutal, beautiful, liberating honesty, is the foundation of all real power. Own your truth. Own your choices. Own your life and rise. Chapter 4. Never quit. There will be days when you'll feel like giving up. Days when the weight of your goals feels heavier than your will to carry them. Days when doubt whispers that your effort doesn't matter, that you're spinning your wheels, that you're wasting your time. Days when the results feel so far away that reaching them seems impossible. These days will come. That's not a maybe, that's a promise. Because anything worth achieving comes with resistance, with obstacles, with moments that test your resolve. The question isn't whether you'll face these moments. The question is, what will you do when they arrive? Will you listen to the doubt? Will you give in to the fatigue? Will you let one hard day become the day you quit? Or will you remember something crucial, something powerful, something true? You are closer than you think, right now, in this moment. Even if you can't see it, even if you can't feel it, you're closer to your breakthrough than you realize. The work you've been doing, the invisible, unglamorous, unsexy work, it's compounding. Every rep, every hour, every small choice. It's all adding up beneath the surface like roots growing underground, invisible but strong, preparing to break through. You just can't see them yet, but they're there, growing, strengthening, getting ready. And the moment you quit is often the moment right before they would have emerged, right before the breakthrough, right before the reward, right before everything changes. Don't let that be you. Don't let doubt steal your destiny. Don't let one bad day define your entire journey, because you will never regret pushing forward when it was hard. You might regret how you did it. You might wish you'd done it differently, but you'll never regret that you kept going. You'll never look back and think, I wish I had quit sooner. But you will regret quitting. You'll regret it for the rest of your life. You'll wonder what could have been, what might have happened, who you might have become. And that regret, that haunting, persistent what if, is heavier than any struggle you face now. So choose the weight you can live with. The weight of discipline, the weight of persistence, the weight of showing up, not the weight of regret, not the weight of giving up, not the weight of wondering. You will never regret trusting yourself when no one else did, when the world doubted you, when people laughed at your dreams. When circumstances said impossible, you trusted yourself anyway. You kept going anyway. You believed anyway, and that faith, that stubborn, unreasonable, unshakable faith in yourself is what carries you through. It's what separates those who achieve from those who almost did. Those who finish from those who quit 3 feet from gold. Those who rise from those who stay down. If you quit, you'll always wonder what could have been. That's the burden of quitting. Not just the loss of the goal, but the loss of knowing, the loss of certainty, the loss of proof that you could have done it. You'll carry that uncertainty forever. That nagging question, could I have made it if I just kept going? But if you stay the course, you'll find out. You'll get your answer. You'll get your proof. You'll get your result. Maybe it's exactly what you wanted. Maybe it's different. Maybe it's even better, but you'll know. You'll have certainty. You'll have the satisfaction of seeing it through, and that knowing that earned certainty is worth every moment of struggle. Your future self will thank you for every moment you refused to give in, for every morning you got up when you wanted to stay down, for every day you pushed forward when quitting made sense, for every moment of doubt you faced and kept moving anyway. That future version of you, and stronger, wiser, more capable, is being built right now. Through your refusal to quit, through your commitment to persist, through your decision to rise. And when you finally become that person, when you finally reach that place, you'll look back with gratitude. Gratitude for your past self, for the one who didn't give up, for the one who kept fighting, for the one who believed in a future they couldn't see yet. That person is you, right now, making decisions that your future self will either thank you for or regret. Choose wisely, choose courageously, choose to keep going, because real power is born in the moments you almost walked away and didn't. In the moments when every logical reason said quit, but something deeper said stay. In the moments when your body was exhausted, your mind was overwhelmed, but your spirit refused to break. Those moments are sacred. Those moments are defining. Those moments are where champions are forged, not in victory, not in success, not in the easy times, but in the hard times, in the dark times. In the times when quitting would be understandable, forgivable, reasonable, but you don't quit. Because you're not reasonable, you're relentless, you're not logical, you're committed, you're not sensible, you're unstoppable. And that quality, that refusal to quit no matter what, is the single most powerful trait you can develop, more powerful than talent, more valuable than intelligence, more important than luck, because talent quits when it gets hard. Intelligence quits when it can't figure it out. Luck runs out eventually, but persistence? Persistence never quits. Persistence finds a way. Persistence wins, not always quickly, not always easily, but eventually, always eventually, if you stay long enough, if you push hard enough, if you refuse to give in, you win. It's just a matter of time. So when the voice in your head says, "I can't do this anymore," answer back, "Not yet. Not today." When your body says, "I'm too tired," answer back, "Just one more. Just today." When doubt says, "This isn't working," answer back, "Give it time. Keep going." That dialogue, that internal conversation, truth is where your destiny is decided, not in external circumstances, not in other people's opinions, not in the results you can see, but in the conversation you have with yourself in the moments no one else witnesses. In those moments you decide, am I someone who quits? Or am I someone who rises? Am I someone who folds under pressure? Or am I someone who thrives in it? Am I someone who needs easy? Or am I someone who handles hard? Those questions define you, and you answer them every single day through your choices, through the choice to stay or leave, to push or quit, to rise or fall. And the beautiful thing, you get to choose. Every single time, no matter how many times you've quit before, no matter how many times you've given up, this time can be different. This time you can stay. This time you can rise. Because quitting is a habit, but so is persisting. And whichever one you practice more becomes who you are. If you've quit 100 times, you've trained yourself to quit. You've made it your default response to difficulty. But you can change that, starting now. Starting today, you can train yourself to persist, to endure, to keep going no matter what. One decision at a time, one hard day at a time, one moment of "I'm not quitting today" at a time. And over time, that new habit becomes your new identity. You become someone who doesn't quit, someone who doesn't fold, someone who finishes, not perfectly, not flawlessly, but completely, fully, finally. That's who you're becoming. Someone who sees things through. Someone who honors commitments. Someone who keeps promises, especially the promises made to yourself. Those are the most important ones. Because every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken your self-trust. You teach yourself that your word doesn't matter, that your commitments are negotiable, that your goals are optional. But every time you keep a promise to yourself, especially when it's hard, you strengthen that trust. You prove to yourself that you mean what you say, that you'll do what you commit to, that you're someone who follows through. And that self-trust and that bone-deep knowing that you'll show up for yourself is the foundation of all confidence. Not confidence that everything will work out, but confidence that you'll handle it either way. Confidence that if you fall, you'll get up. If you fail, you'll try again. If you struggle, you'll push through. That's real confidence. Not arrogance, not bravado, but earned certainty in your own resilience, and you earn it by not quitting, by staying in the fight, by rising every time you fall. That's the practice. That's the path. That's the process, and it's not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's not the stuff of movies. It's just you, showing up day after day, doing the work, keeping the promise, honoring the commitment, even when no one's watching, even when no one cares, even when no one would blame you for stopping. You don't stop. Because you're not doing this for them. You're doing this for you, for the future version of you that deserves to see what you're capable of, for the dreams that won't let you sleep, for the life that's calling your name, for the proof, the undeniable proof, that you can do hard things. That's what you're building, not just success, not just results, but proof. Proof that you're stronger than you thought, braver than you believed, more capable than you imagined. And that proof comes from one place: refusing to quit. Refusing to quit when it hurts. Refusing to quit when it's slow. Refusing to quit when it's lonely. Just refusing. Period. No matter what. That's your superpower. That's your edge. That's your guarantee. Because everyone else will quit eventually. They always do, when it gets too hard, when it takes too long, when the doubts get too loud, they quit. They give up. They walk away, but not you. You stay, you endure, you persist, and that's why you'll win. Not because you're better, but because you're still there, still fighting, still building, still believing. When everyone else has gone home, you're still in the arena, and eventually, inevitably, you win by default, because you're the only one left standing. That's the power of persistence. That's the promise of perseverance. That's the reward of refusing to quit. So don't quit. Not today, not tomorrow. Not ever. Stay in the fight. Keep pushing. Keep believing. Your breakthrough is closer than you think, and you'll never know how close unless you keep going. So keep going. Now let's go deeper into what happens when you refuse to quit. Let's talk about what happens in your brain when you want to quit, because understanding this can help you push through those moments with more awareness and power. When things get hard, your brain goes into protection mode. It's designed that way. Your brain's primary job isn't to make you successful, it's to keep you safe. To conserve energy, to avoid threat and difficulty, your brain interprets that as threat. So it starts sending signals, loud signals, urgent signals. This is too hard. This is dangerous. This isn't working. You should stop. These aren't rational thoughts. They're survival instincts, and they're powerful. But here's what you need to understand. These signals are not truth. They're suggestions. Your brain is suggesting you quit. But you don't have to listen. You can acknowledge the signal. Thank your brain for trying to protect you, and keep going anyway. Because your brain doesn't know the difference between actual danger and discomfort, between a real threat and a challenging goal, between physical harm and emotional growth. To your brain, they all trigger the same alarm system. But you, the conscious, aware, intentional you know the difference. You know that pushing through a hard workout isn't dangerous. It's strengthening. You know that facing a difficult conversation isn't threatening. It's necessary. You know that working on your goals when motivation is gone isn't harmful. It's transformative. So when your brain screams quit, you can calmly respond, I hear you. But we're not quitting. We're growing. That simple reframe, from threat to growth, changes everything. It shifts you from reactive to responsive, from victim to victor, from powerless to powerful. And over time, with practice, your brain adapts. It learns that this kind of discomfort is safe, that pushing through is rewarding, and the signals get quieter. The resistance lessens. The urge to quit weakens, not because the work gets easier, but because you get stronger. Your capacity expands, your resilience deepens, your threshold for discomfort rises, and what once felt impossible becomes manageable. What once felt unbearable becomes routine. That's growth. That's transformation. That's what happens when you refuse to quit. You literally rewire your brain. You create new neural pathways. You build new patterns, patterns of persistence, patterns of resilience, patterns of rising, and those patterns become automatic. They become who you are, but only if you stay, only if you push through, only if you refuse to quit. Now let's address something important, the difference between quitting and pivoting, because sometimes the smartest thing you can do is change direction. Let go of what's not working. Try a different approach. That's not quitting. That's adapting. And there's a crucial difference. Quitting is giving up on the goal. Pivoting is changing the path to the goal. Quitting is saying, I can't do this. Pivoting is saying, this approach isn't working. Let me try another way. Quitting is driven by fear, doubt, and exhaustion. Pivoting is driven by wisdom, assessment, and strategy. How do you know which one you're doing? Ask yourself these questions. Am I giving up on the goal itself? Or just this particular method? Am I stopping because I'm scared? Or because the data shows this isn't the right path? Am I quitting because it's hard? Or pivoting because I found a better way? If you're giving up on the goal, avoiding the fear, or escaping the difficulty, that's quitting. If you're changing the approach, following the data, or finding a smarter path, that's pivoting. Be honest with yourself. Because your brain is clever, it will dress up quitting as pivoting if you let it. It will rationalize. It will justify. It will make quitting sound strategic, but deep down, You always know, are you running away? Or are you moving towards something better? Are you escaping difficulty? Or are you embracing a more effective strategy? Trust that knowing, honor it, act on it. If you're quitting disguised as pivoting, call yourself out. Get back in the arena. Keep fighting. If you're genuinely pivoting, do it confidently. Make the change. Try the new approach, but either way, don't give up on the goal. Don't abandon the vision. Don't walk away from what you truly want. Adjust the strategy. Change the tactics. Modify the plan, but keep the commitment. Keep the faith. Keep moving forward, because the goal is what matters. The vision is what drives you. The destination is what makes the journey worthwhile. And there are 1,000 paths to any destination. If one doesn't work, try another. But don't stop walking. Don't stop moving. Don't stop believing you'll get there. Here's another truth about quitting. It gets easier each time. The first time you quit something, it feels awful. There's guilt. There's shame. There's disappointment, but the second time, a little easier. The third time, easier still, until eventually quitting becomes your default response to difficulty. The moment something gets hard, you bail. The moment progress slows, you quit. The moment doubt appears, you walk away, and you wonder why nothing in your life changes, why your dreams stay dreams, why your potential stays untapped. It's because you've trained yourself to quit. You've made it a habit, a pattern, an identity. But here's the good news. Just as quitting is a habit, so is persisting, and you can retrain yourself. Starting now, starting today, you can make not quitting your new pattern, your new habit, your new identity. Every time you face the urge to quit and choose to stay, you're rewriting that pattern. You're teaching yourself a new response. You're building a new identity. The identity of someone who doesn't quit, someone who finishes, someone who rises. And the more you practice that response, the stronger it becomes. Until one day, quitting isn't even an option anymore. It doesn't cross your mind, because you're someone who stays, someone who endures, someone who sees things through. That's not stubbornness. That's character. That's strength. That's power. And it's built one not today at a time. One moment of choosing to stay when leaving would be easier. One decision to push when stopping would be understandable. One commitment to rise when falling would be forgivable. Those moments add up. Those choices compound. Those decisions define you. And over time, they create a life that reflects your persistence. A life of completed goals, achieved dreams, earned success not because you were lucky, not because you were gifted, not because it was easy, but because you didn't quit. When everyone else did. When everything in you wanted to, you didn't quit. You stayed. You fought. You rose. And that refusal to quit is the most powerful force in the universe. It's stronger than talent. It's more reliable than luck. It's more valuable than intelligence because talent quits. Luck runs out. Intelligence gets confused. But persistence wins. Always, eventually, if you stay long enough. If you fight hard enough. If you believe deeply enough, you win. It's just math. It's just time. It's just inevitable, so don't quit. Not when you're tired. Not when you're scared. Not when you're alone. Not when the results aren't showing. Not when people doubt you. Not when circumstances shift. Don't quit, period, full stop. No exceptions. Stay in the arena. Keep throwing punches. Keep believing in yourself. Because your breakthrough is coming. Your moment is approaching. Your time is near. You just have to stay long enough to see it, and you will. Because you're not someone who quits anymore. You're someone who rises, again and again and again. No matter how many times you fall, no matter how hard it gets, no matter what, you rise. That's who you are now. That's your identity. That's your power. There's something beautiful about the person who refuses to quit. Something magnetic, something inspiring, not because they're superhuman, but because they're relentlessly human. They get tired. They get discouraged. They get frustrated, but they show up anyway. They push through anyway. They keep going anyway, and people notice, not always immediately, but eventually, they notice the consistency, the dedication, the refusal to give up, and they're drawn to it. Because in a world full of quitters, finishers stand out. In a culture of instant gratification, persistence is rare, valuable, powerful. You become that person not by being perfect, but by being persistent, not by never falling, but by always rising, not by avoiding struggle, but by refusing to let struggle win. That's the person people remember, the person people respect, the person people want to become. And you're becoming that person right now. Through every moment you choose to stay when quitting would be easier. Through every decision to trust the process when doubt is loud. Through every commitment to honor your word when circumstances give you an out. You're building a reputation, not with others, and that comes later, but with yourself. A reputation for being someone who doesn't quit, someone who keeps promises, someone who finishes what they start. And that reputation, that internal knowing, it becomes your identity. It becomes the lens through which you see yourself, the standard by which you make decisions, the foundation upon which you build everything else. When you see yourself as someone who doesn't quit, quitting stops being an option. Not because it's impossible, but because it's inconsistent with who you are. It's out of alignment, out of character, out of integrity, and you protect your integrity above all else, not for others. For yourself, because you know, your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you'll ever have. And you're not willing to betray that relationship by quitting when things get hard. You're committed to yourself, to your goals, to your growth. And that commitment, and that sacred, unbreakable commitment, is what carries you through every storm, every setback, every obstacle, every moment of doubt, because storms pass. Setbacks are temporary. Obstacles can be overcome. Doubt can be silenced, but your commitment, that's permanent. That's unshakable. That's who you are. So when the storm comes, and it will come, you don't run from it. You stand in it, you feel the wind, you endure the rain, you weather the chaos, and you trust. Trust that you're strong enough. Trust that this too shall pass. Trust that you'll emerge stronger. Because you always do. Every storm you've weathered has made you more resilient. Every setback you've overcome has made you more capable. Every moment of doubt you've pushed through has made you more certain. Of what? Of yourself. Of your power. Of your ability to handle whatever life throws at you. That certainty, that unshakable knowing, is the ultimate prize. Not the external success. Not the achievements or accolades. But the internal knowing. The knowing that you can do hard things. That you won't quit on yourself. That you'll rise no matter what. That knowing is worth more than any trophy. More valuable than any recognition. More powerful than any title. Because it goes with you everywhere. It's yours forever. No one can take it away, and it's earned. Not given. Not inherited. Earned through the moments you wanted to quit and didn't. Through the days you showed up when staying in bed would have been easier. Through the years you invested when giving up would have been understandable. That's how you earn it. That's how you build it. That's how you become someone who doesn't quit. One choice at a time. One day at a time. One rise at a time, and before you know it, not quitting isn't something you do. It's who you are. It's woven into your identity, embedded in your character, written in your story. You're not someone who quits. You never were. You were just someone who hadn't discovered that yet. But now you know. Now you see. Now you understand. You're built for this. You're designed for endurance. You're created for rising. And every challenge you face is just another opportunity to prove it. To yourself. To your future. To the life that's waiting for you on the other side of persistence. So embrace the challenge. Welcome the difficulty. Thank the resistance, because it's not in your way. It's the way to becoming someone unstoppable. Someone unbreakable. Someone who rises every single time. No matter what. Without exception, that's your promise. That's your commitment. That's your power. Never quit. Keep rising always and watch what happens. Watch who you become. Watch what you create. It will be extraordinary. Not because the path was easy, but because you walked it anyway. Not because you never fell, but because you always rose. Not because you never doubted, but because you never quit. That's your legacy. That's your story. That's your life. A life of rising. A life of persistence. A life of power. Built one choice at a time. One day at a time. One rise at a time. Never quit. And rise. Chapter 5. Trust the process. Sometimes you'll work hard and see nothing, no rewards, no results, no recognition, just silence. You'll put in the hours. You'll do the work. You'll show up consistently, and the world will give you nothing in return. No applause, no validation, no proof that any of it matters. This is the hardest part of any journey. The invisible middle, the silent season, the time between planting and harvest. And this is where most people quit. Right here. In the silence, because they mistake silence for failure. They confuse invisible progress with no progress. They look at their effort and see no immediate result, so they assume the effort was wasted. But that's not how growth works. That's not how anything meaningful works. Silence doesn't mean failure. It means growth is happening, underground. Like a seed beneath the soil, your roots are forming before the world can see them. Think about it. When you plant a seed, you don't see growth immediately. You water it, you tend to it, you protect it. And for days, weeks, sometimes months, nothing. The surface looks the same, empty, unchanged, barren. And if you didn't understand the process, you'd think the seed was dead, that your effort was pointless. But beneath the surface, everything is happening. Roots are spreading, strength is building, life is forming. The seed is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Growing, preparing, getting ready. And then one day a sprout breaks through. Small at first, barely visible, but it's there. Undeniable proof that the process was working all along. You are that seed. Your effort is the water. Your consistency is the sunlight. And even though you can't see the growth yet, it's happening. Right now. Beneath the surface, your skills are sharpening. Your mindset is strengthening. Your character is deepening. Every day you show up, you're building something invisible but real. Something that will emerge when the time is right. But here's the key. You have to trust the process before you see the results. You have to believe in the growth before it's visible. You have to have faith in the journey before you reach the destination. Because if you only believe when you see, you'll quit too soon. You'll walk away right before the breakthrough. Most people give up here. They walk away before the harvest. They plant seeds, water them for a few days, see nothing, and move on to something else. They never give their seeds a chance to grow. They never give their effort a chance to compound. They never give themselves a chance to see what they're truly capable of. But winners stay when no one is watching. They water their goals when there's no applause. They keep showing up when there's no evidence that it's working. When there's no feedback. When there's no reward, they show up anyway. Because they trust the process more than they trust their emotions. They know that feelings lie. That doubt distorts. That fear exaggerates. But the process is trustworthy. The process is reliable. The process always works. If you do the work consistently, the results will come. Maybe not when you want them. Maybe not how you expect them. But they will come. It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. And the when depends on your willingness to trust, to keep going, to stay committed even when you see nothing. Progress is not always visible, but it's always real. Every unseen effort, every small act of faith, it's building you into someone unshakable, someone who doesn't need external validation to keep going, someone who doesn't need proof to believe, someone who trusts the process so deeply that they can walk through the valley of uncertainty without losing faith. That's strength, that's maturity, that's power. And it's developed in seasons like this, when nothing seems to be happening, when progress feels stalled, when doubt is loud. This is where your character is forged, where your faith is tested, where your commitment is proven. Anyone can keep going when they're winning, when the results are showing, when people are cheering. But can you keep going when you're losing, when nothing is showing, when no one is watching? That's the real test. That's the defining moment. That's where champions are separated from dreamers. Champions trust the process. Dreamers trust their feelings. Champions know that growth takes time. Dreamers want results immediately. Champions stay committed through the silence. Dreamers quit when the applause stops. Which one are you? Which one do you want to be? The answer isn't in what you say. It's in what you do, in how you show up, in whether you trust the process or abandon it. So let's talk about what trusting the process actually looks like in practice. It means showing up on the days when you don't feel like it, when motivation is gone, when inspiration is absent. It means doing the work even when you can't see how it connects to your goals, even when it feels meaningless, even when it seems pointless. It means believing in the compound effect, understanding that small actions repeated consistently create massive results over time. It means being patient with yourself, giving yourself grace, accepting that growth is messy and non-linear. It means celebrating small wins, recognizing micro-progress, acknowledging effort even when results aren't visible yet. It means protecting your peace, not letting the lack of immediate results steal your joy or dim your determination. It means surrounding yourself with people who understand the process, who won't judge your progress by external markers, who see the growth even when it's invisible. It means journaling, tracking, documenting, so that when doubt comes, you have evidence of how far you've come. Because when you're in the middle of the process, it's easy to forget where you started, to lose perspective, to think you're not making progress. But when you look back at your journal from 6 months ago, you see it clearly. You were different then. You've grown. You've changed. You've improved. That evidence, that tangible proof of progress, is fuel for the journey. It reminds you that the process is working, even when it doesn't feel like it. Even when you can't see it, it's working. Now here's what makes trusting the process even harder. Society doesn't value it. We live in a culture that celebrates overnight success. That highlights the wins but hides the work. Social media shows you the harvest but never the planting, the achievement but never the struggle, the result but never the process. So you start comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel, and you feel like you're falling behind, like everyone else is succeeding while you're stuck, like everyone else figured it out while you're still struggling. But that's an illusion, a dangerous, destructive illusion. Everyone is struggling. Everyone is planting seeds in silence. Everyone is walking through their own invisible season. The difference is most people don't talk about it. They don't post about it. They don't share the messy middle. They only share the win, the breakthrough, the moment everything came together, and that creates a false narrative. A lie that success comes easily to everyone else, that you're the only one struggling, but you're not. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, in the process, in the growth, in the transformation. And if you stay committed, if you trust the process, if you refuse to quit, you'll get your moment too. Your breakthrough, your harvest, your proof that it was all worth it, but you have to earn it. You have to stay. You have to trust. Let's go deeper into why trust is so hard, why the process feels so uncomfortable, because understanding the psychology behind it can help you navigate it better. Humans are wired for immediate feedback. Our brains crave quick rewards, instant gratification. We're designed to notice changes quickly, to respond to immediate threats or opportunities. But meaningful growth doesn't work that way. It happens slowly, gradually, imperceptibly. You don't notice yourself getting stronger after one workout. You don't see progress after one day of studying. You don't feel wiser after reading one book. The change is too small, too subtle, too incremental. But over weeks, months, years, the change is undeniable. You're completely different, stronger, smarter, better. But your brain doesn't like waiting that long. It wants proof now, validation now, results now, and when it doesn't get them, it starts to panic. It sends alarm signals. It creates doubt. This isn't working. You're wasting your time. You should try something else. But those thoughts aren't truth. They're just your brain's impatience. It's discomfort with delayed gratification. And if you listen to those thoughts, if you let them guide your decisions, you'll quit too soon. Every time you'll jump from goal to goal, strategy to strategy, process to process, always starting, never finishing, always planting seeds but never staying long enough to harvest them. That's the trap, the cycle that keeps people stuck, the pattern that prevents growth. But you can break it. You can choose differently. You can train your brain to trust the process. How? By reframing the way you think about progress instead of asking, "Am I there yet?" Ask, "Am I better than yesterday?" Instead of looking for massive change, look for small improvements, tiny shifts, micro progress. Instead of measuring success by results, measure it by consistency, by showing up, by doing the work. Because consistency is the leading indicator of success. Results are the lagging indicator. If you're consistent, results will come. It's inevitable. It's just a matter of time. But if you're inconsistent, if you quit when progress is invisible, results will never come. No matter how talented you are, talent without consistency is potential wasted. Effort without patience is energy squandered. But consistency plus patience, that's the formula. That's the secret. That's how you build anything meaningful. So stop looking for shortcuts. Stop searching for hacks. Stop hoping for quick fixes. There aren't any. At least not for things that matter. Not for things that last. Real growth takes time. Real transformation requires patience. Real success demands trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in the work. Trust in the process, even when you can't see the results. Even when doubt is loud. Even when everyone else seems to be moving faster. Stay committed. Stay patient. Stay focused. Because while everyone else is chasing quick wins and easy results, you're building something deeper, stronger, more sustainable. You're not just building success. You're building character. You're not just achieving goals. You're becoming someone who trusts, someone who endures, someone who believes in that version of you, that patient, trusting, committed version, is unstoppable. Not because they always win quickly, but because they never quit. They stay in the process until the process delivers, and it always delivers. Always. If you stay long enough, if you trust deeply enough, if you work consistently enough, the process rewards those who honor it, those who respect it, those who trust it. So honor the process. Respect the timeline. Trust the journey. Your harvest is coming. Your breakthrough is near. Your moment is approaching. You just can't see it yet. But it's there. Growing. Forming. Preparing to emerge. And when it does, when you finally see the fruit of your labor, you'll understand. You'll understand why the wait was necessary, why the silence was important, why the struggle was worth it. Because the person you had to become to reach that moment couldn't exist without the process. The patience, the trust, the faith, the consistency, all of it shaped you,
Molded you?
made you ready to receive, ready to handle, ready to sustain. The success you've been working toward, the life you've been building, the future you've been dreaming about, it's all coming. All of it right on time, not your time. Process time. The time it takes for roots to grow deep enough to support the fruit you're about to bear. So trust it. All of it. The waiting, the silence, the invisible growth. Trust that the process is working. Trust that your effort matters. Trust that you're exactly where you need to be, and keep going. Keep showing up. Keep watering your seeds, because the harvest is coming, and it will be worth the wait. Now let's talk about something crucial. The seasons of growth. Because understanding this will change how you view your journey. Just like nature has seasons, your growth has seasons too, and each season serves a purpose. There's the planting season, when you're setting goals, learning new skills, establishing routines. This is where you lay the foundation. There's the growing season, when you're putting in the work, showing up consistently, building momentum. This is where discipline matters most. There's the waiting season, when progress feels invisible, results seem distant, and doubt creeps in. This is where trust is tested. And there's the harvest season, when the work pays off, the results show up, and everything clicks into place. This is where you reap what you sowed. Most people love the harvest season. They celebrate it. They post about it. They feel validated by it, but they hate the waiting season. They resist it. They doubt during it. They often quit during it. But here's what you need to understand. You cannot have harvest without waiting. You cannot skip the growing season and go straight to results. Each season is essential. Each season serves you. Each season makes the next one possible. The waiting season isn't punishment. It's preparation. It's not a delay. It's development. During this season, invisible things are happening. Things you can't measure or see but are absolutely critical. Your mindset is shifting. Your habits are solidifying. Your character is deepening. The person you're becoming during the wait is just as important as the results you're working toward. Maybe more important. Because results can be lost, but who you become, that's permanent. So when you're in the waiting season, don't wish it away. Don't rush through it. Don't resent it, embrace it. Learn from it. Let it shape you. Ask yourself, what is this season teaching me? What am I learning about myself? How am I growing through this? Those questions transform the waiting season from something to endure into something to embrace. From a problem into an opportunity. From a curse into a blessing. Because the waiting season is where the deepest growth happens, where the strongest roots form, where the most powerful lessons are learned. And when harvest finally comes, you'll look back at the waiting season with gratitude, not because it was easy, but because it was necessary, because it made you ready for what you were about to receive. Now, let's address a common mistake people make, comparing their season to someone else's. You're in your waiting season, but you see someone else in their harvest season, and you think, why them and not me? What am I doing wrong? But you're not doing anything wrong. You're just in a different season. Maybe they planted before you. Maybe they've been watering longer. Maybe their harvest was just meant to come first. That doesn't mean yours won't come. It just means your timing is different. And that's okay. Comparing your season to someone else's is like comparing winter to summer and asking which one is better. They're both necessary. They're both valuable. They're both exactly what they need to be. Your season is your season. Honor it, trust it, work within it. Don't let someone else's harvest make you doubt your planting. Don't let their results make you question your process. Stay in your lane. Trust your timing. Honor your journey. Because when your harvest comes, and it will come, you won't be thinking about anyone else's timeline. You'll be too busy celebrating your own, too grateful for your journey, too amazed by what you built. And you'll understand finally why it had to happen exactly when it did, why the timing was perfect, why the wait was worth it. Let's also talk about the compound effect, because this is the hidden power behind trusting the process. The compound effect is simple. Small actions, repeated consistently over time, create exponential results. One workout doesn't transform your body, but one workout every day for a year? That's transformation. One page of writing doesn't create a book, but one page every day for 6 months? That's a book. One healthy meal doesn't change your health, but healthy meals every day for months? That's a new you. The power isn't in the single action. It's in the repetition, the consistency, the accumulation. But here's the catch. The compound effect works slowly at first, painfully slowly. For weeks, maybe months, you won't see much difference. The changes are too small, too incremental. And this is where most people quit, because they can't see the compounding yet. They can't feel the momentum building. But if you stay, if you keep showing up, keep doing the work, keep trusting the process, something magical happens. The compound effect kicks in. The momentum builds. The results start showing. And suddenly progress that felt impossible starts feeling inevitable. Growth that felt distant becomes present. Success that felt unreachable becomes yours. But you have to stay long enough to reach that tipping point, that moment when compound interest starts working in your favor. And the only way to reach it is through trust, through patience, through unwavering commitment to the process. So keep showing up, keep doing the small things. Keep trusting that they're adding up, because they are. Every single day, even when you can't see it, the compound effect is working. The process is delivering. Your breakthrough is building. You just have to trust it long enough to see it. Here's another powerful truth. The process doesn't just deliver results. It delivers identity. When you commit to the process, when you show up consistently, when you trust even when you can't see, you become someone different. Someone stronger, someone more capable. You're not just achieving goals. You're becoming the kind of person who achieves goals. You're not just building success. You're becoming someone who knows how to succeed. That identity shift is the real prize. Because once you become that person, success isn't a one-time thing. It's repeatable. You know how to trust the process. You know how to stay consistent. You know how to push through doubt. And you can apply that to anything, any goal, any dream, any challenge. That's the power of trusting the process. It doesn't just give you one result. It gives you a system, a mindset, an identity of someone who finishes what they start, who honors their commitments, who trusts themselves. And that identity, that unshakable sense of self, is worth more than any external achievement, because achievements can be taken away. But who you are, that's yours forever. So trust the process, not just for the results, but for who you're becoming, for the person you're growing into, for the character you're building, for the identity you're claiming. That person, that patient, trusting, committed person, is powerful beyond measure. They don't need instant results to stay motivated. They don't need external validation to keep going. They trust themselves. They trust the work. They trust the process. And that trust carries them through anything, any setback, any delay, any challenge, because they know if they stay committed, if they keep showing up, if they trust the process, everything they're working for will come. Not on their timeline, but on the perfect timeline, the timeline that allows them to grow into the person who can handle what they're about to receive. So when the wait feels long, remember, it's not a delay. It's preparation. When progress feels slow, remember, it's not stalled. It's compounding. When results feel distant, remember they're not impossible. They're inevitable if you trust. If you stay, if you keep going, the process works. It always works. For everyone who honors it, so honor it. Respect it. Trust it. Completely. Fully. Unconditionally. Even when you can't see the results. Even when doubt is loud. Even when the wait feels unbearable. Trust it anyway. Because the process has never failed anyone who stayed committed to it. And it won't fail you. Not if you give it time. Not if you give it consistency. Not if you give it trust. Let's talk about patience. Real patience. The kind that changes everything. Patience isn't passive. It's not sitting back and hoping things work out. It's not waiting without action. Real patience is active. It's continuing to work while you wait. It's trusting the timing while you execute the plan. It's knowing that your breakthrough is coming, so you keep preparing for it. Keep building toward it. Keep becoming ready for it. Because when your moment arrives, you want to be ready. You want to have done the work. You want to be the person who can handle it. That's what the waiting season is for. Not just to test your faith, but to prepare your capacity, to expand your ability to receive, to strengthen your ability to sustain, to deepen your ability to handle what's coming. So use this time wisely. Don't waste it wishing things were different. Don't spend it complaining about the wait. Use it to grow, to learn, to become, to prepare, because your harvest is coming. And when it does, you'll be grateful for every moment of the wait. Grateful that it gave you time to grow, time to strengthen, time to become ready. So trust the process. All of it, the planting, the growing, the waiting, the harvesting. Every season matters. Every moment counts. Every step is necessary. Trust it. Honor it. Live it. Your breakthrough is coming. Your harvest is near. Your moment is approaching. Stay committed. Stay patient. Stay trusting. The process is working. And so are you. Trust it. And rise. Chapter 6. Rise again. Falling is part of the journey. Getting up, that's your choice. You will fall. Not maybe. Not possibly. You will fall. You'll make mistakes. You'll face setbacks. You'll encounter failures that knock you flat on your back. And in those moments, lying there in the dust, you'll face a choice. The most important choice you'll ever make. Do you stay down, or do you rise? Do you let this fall define you, or do you let it refine you? Do you give up because it's hard, or do you get up because you're stronger than the fall? That choice and that single decision determines everything, not the fall itself, but what you do after it. Every fall tests your discipline. Every setback asks one question. How bad do you want it? How badly do you want the life you've been building? The dream you've been chasing? The person you've been becoming? Bad enough to get up? Bad enough to try again? Bad enough to keep fighting when everything in you wants to quit? That's the question. And you answer it not with words, but with action. By getting up. By brushing off the dust. By taking one more step forward. Even when you're tired. Even when you're hurt. Even when you don't know if you can make it, you get up anyway. Because that's what champions do. That's what warriors do. That's what you do. Strength isn't pretending you're never hurt. It's refusing to let pain stop you. It's acknowledging the wound, feeling the ache, accepting the setback, and then rising anyway. Not because it doesn't hurt, but because the alternative, staying down, hurts more. Because staying down means giving up on yourself. And you've come too far to do that now. You've invested too much, sacrificed too much, grown too much. You're not the same person who started this journey. You're stronger now, wiser now, more capable now. And that version of you, the one you've worked so hard to become, deserves better than quitting, deserves better than staying down, deserves better than giving up after one fall. So you rise, not because it's easy, but because you're committed to yourself, to your journey, to your future. There will be days when no one sees your comeback. No celebration, no audience. Just you, your determination, and your belief that your story isn't over yet. Those are the most important days. The days when you rise in silence, when you push forward in private, when the only witness to your courage is you. Because those are the days that define you, that shape you, that prove who you really are. Anyone can rise when people are watching, when there's support and encouragement and applause. But rising when no one sees, rising when you're alone, rising when there's no reward, no recognition, no reason except your own refusal to stay down, that's power, that's character, that's strength, and you have it. You've always had it. Every time you've gotten up before proves it. Every setback you've overcome, every challenge you've faced, every moment you wanted to quit but didn't, all of it is evidence. Proof that you're someone who rises, not sometimes, not when it's convenient, but always. Every single time, rise again. Rise tired, because you won't always have energy. Sometimes you'll be exhausted, depleted, running on empty, and you'll still need to rise. Not with strength, not with enthusiasm, but with determination. Just one foot in front of the other, one breath at a time. One small step forward, that's enough. You don't need to sprint. You just need to move, because movement is progress, and progress, no matter how small, is victory. Rise afraid, because fear will come, doubt will whisper, uncertainty will cloud your vision, and you'll have to rise anyway. Not without fear, but despite it. Fear doesn't disqualify you. It doesn't mean you're not ready. It doesn't mean you should stop. It just means you're human. You're taking risks. You're pushing beyond what's comfortable. That's good. That's growth. That's exactly where you need to be. So feel the fear, acknowledge it, and rise anyway, because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in the presence of fear. It's choosing to move forward even when every instinct says stay still. That's what makes you brave. Not that you don't feel fear, but that you don't let fear win. Rise confused because you won't always have clarity. You won't always know the next step. You won't always see the path ahead, and that's okay. You don't need perfect vision to take the next step. You just need enough light to see what's right in front of you, and then you take that step, and then another, and another, until the path reveals itself, because clarity comes from action, not contemplation. You don't think your way to clarity. You act your way to it. So rise confused. Take the step even when you don't see the whole staircase. Because the staircase builds itself as you climb, one step at a time, one decision at a time. Rise anyway, no matter what, no matter how, no matter why, just rise, because that's what you do. That's who you are. That's your commitment, not to never fall, but to always rise, and every rise is a victory. Every time you get up, you win, not against others, against yourself, against the part of you that wants to quit, the part that says it's too hard, the part that's tempted to give up. Every time you rise, you defeat that part. You prove it wrong. You show it that you're stronger, and over time that part gets quieter, weaker, smaller, until one day it doesn't even suggest staying down anymore. Because it knows you're someone who rises always, without exception, without hesitation. That's your identity now. That's who you've become. That's your power. Every rise brings you closer to the life you were meant to live, not the easy life, not the comfortable life, not the life where nothing ever goes wrong, but the meaningful life, the purposeful life, the life that matters, the life you build through falling and rising, through struggling and overcoming, through breaking and healing. That's the life worth living, and you're building it right now. One rise at a time. You're not done, not even close. Your story isn't over. Your journey isn't complete. Your potential isn't exhausted. You're still in the fight, still in the arena, still writing your story. And the world hasn't seen your best yet. It hasn't seen what you're capable of when you refuse to stay down, when you keep getting up, when you absolutely will not quit. That version of you, the unstoppable version, is coming. And it's going to be extraordinary, not because you never fell, But because you always rose, not because it was easy, but because you made the choice, every single time, to get up, to keep going, to rise again. Let's talk about what makes someone rise. Because it's not what most people think. It's not strength, at least not physical strength. It's not intelligence. It's not luck. It's something deeper, something more fundamental, something that exists in every person, but only some choose to access. It's the refusal to accept defeat, the unwillingness to let circumstances define destiny, the stubborn, unreasonable, irrational belief that you can still win, even when the evidence says otherwise. Even when logic says quit, even when everyone else has given up, you believe. You hope, you trust, that somehow, someway you'll figure it out. And that belief, that unshakable, unreasonable belief, that is what makes you rise. Not because you know you'll succeed, but because you refuse to accept that you won't. It's not rational. It's not logical. It's not reasonable. It's faith. Pure, powerful, transformative faith. Faith in yourself. Faith in the process. Faith in the possibility that your story can still have a happy ending. And that faith moves mountains. It creates miracles. It turns impossible into inevitable. Because when you believe you can rise, you find a way to rise. Your mind starts looking for solutions instead of excuses. Your energy shifts from victim to victor. Your focus moves from the problem to the possibility. And suddenly what seemed impossible becomes possible. What felt overwhelming becomes manageable. Not because the situation changed, but because you did. You chose to believe. You chose to rise. And that choice changed everything. Now let's talk about the transformation that happens through rising. Because rising isn't just about getting up. It's about who you become in the process. Every time you fall and rise, you're not the same person who fell. You're stronger, wiser, more resilient. You've learned something about yourself, about life, about what you're capable of enduring. And that knowledge becomes part of you. It becomes your foundation, your strength, your proof. Proof that you can handle hard things, that you can survive setbacks, that you can overcome obstacles. And with each rise, that proof accumulates, that foundation strengthens, that identity solidifies, until one day you realize you're not afraid of falling anymore. Because you know you'll rise, you've done it before, many times. And you'll do it again if you need to. That's freedom. That's power. That's peace. Not the peace of a life without struggle, but the peace of a person who knows they can handle struggle. Who doesn't fear the fall because they trust the rise. Who doesn't avoid challenges because they know challenges make them stronger. That's who you're becoming. Someone who doesn't fear falling. Because falling is just part of flying. You can't fly without the risk of falling. You can't soar without the possibility of crashing, but you've decided that the possibility of soaring is worth the risk of falling. And that decision makes all the difference, because most people never fly. They stay grounded, safe, protected, afraid, but you're willing to fall, willing to risk, willing to try. And because you're willing to fall, you get to experience what most people never will. The thrill of flight, the freedom of soaring, the joy of living fully. That's the gift of rising. Not just that you get back up, but that you're willing to risk falling again. That's courage. That's life. That's what it means to truly live. Here's what else happens when you rise. You inspire others. Not through words. Through example. When people see you fall and rise, something awakens in them. A possibility they hadn't considered. A hope they'd forgotten. They think, if they can do it, maybe I can too. If they can rise, maybe I can rise, and suddenly your rise becomes their permission. Your courage becomes their catalyst. Your example becomes their hope. You don't have to be perfect to inspire. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be the strongest or the smartest or the most talented. You just have to rise. And in rising, you show others that it's possible, that it's worth it, that they can do it too. That's leadership. That's impact. That's legacy, not what you say, but what you do. How you respond. How you rise. So every time you rise, you're not just doing it for you. You're doing it for everyone who's watching, everyone who's struggling, everyone who needs to see that rising is possible. You're being the example you needed when you were down, the proof you were looking for when you were lost, the hope you desperately wanted when you were broken. That's powerful. That's meaningful. That's why your rise matters so much. Let's talk about the moment right before you rise, because this moment is critical. You're down. You're hurt, you're tired, and you have a choice. This is the moment when everything is decided.
Not in the fall.
Not after the rise, but in this moment. The space between, the moment when staying down would be so easy. When no one would blame you, when you could just stop. And in that moment, something happens. A voice speaks. Not loud, not dramatic. Just clear, one more time. Get up one more time. And you have to choose. Do you listen to that voice? Or do you ignore it? Because that voice is your spirit, your soul. The deepest, truest part of you. The part that knows what you're capable of. And it's asking you to rise, one more time. Not because it will be easy, but because you'll regret it if you don't. Because years from now you won't remember the pain of getting up. You'll remember the regret of staying down. You won't remember how hard it was to rise. You'll remember how it felt to quit. So in that moment you listen to the voice. You take a breath. And you move. Maybe it's just one hand reaching out. One knee lifting. One foot pressing down. But it's movement. It's action. It's rising. And with that one small movement, everything changes. The momentum shifts. The energy flows. The rise begins. It's not easy. It's not fast. It's not glamorous, but it's happening. You're rising, again. And with every inch of elevation, you remember who you are. Someone who rises. Someone who doesn't quit. Someone who keeps fighting. That's your identity. That's your truth. That's your power. You're someone who rises. Again and again and again. No matter how many times you fall. No matter how hard it gets. No matter what, you rise. Because that's what you do. That's who you are. That's your promise to yourself. And you keep that promise. Every time. Without fail. Without exception. Because that promise, that commitment to always rise, is the foundation of everything you're building. Your success. Your strength. Your story. All of it is built on that promise. The promise to never stay down. To never give up. To always rise. That's your power. That's your path. That's your purpose, to rise. To show others it's possible. To prove that no fall is final unless you choose to stay down, and you don't choose that. You'll never choose that. Because you're someone who rises, always, forever, without question. Let's talk about resilience. Real resilience. Not the kind that looks good on motivational posters, but the kind that's earned through actual hardship. Resilience isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Through falling. Through failing. Through getting back up. Every time you rise, you're building resilience, like a muscle that grows stronger with use, with stress, with resistance. The first time you fall, getting up is terrifying. You don't know if you can. You don't know if you should. You don't know if it's worth it, but you do it anyway, and you discover something profound. You can get up. You did get up. You survived, and that discovery changes you. It becomes evidence, proof that you're stronger than you thought. The second time you fall, it's still hard, but slightly less terrifying, because you have that evidence now. You've done this before. You know the process. You know the pain. You know you'll survive, and with each fall and rise, the fear diminishes. The confidence grows. The resilience strengthens until falling becomes less about, can I survive this? And more about, how quickly can I rise from this? That shift is everything, because it means you're no longer afraid of challenges. You expect them. You prepare for them. You even welcome them, because you know, every challenge is an opportunity to build more resilience, to become stronger, to prove yourself again. That's the mindset of someone who's risen many times, someone who's learned that falling isn't failure, it's just part of the process. And that mindset makes you unstoppable, because if you're not afraid of falling, what can stop you? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You'll try anything, risk anything, dare anything. Because you know even if you fail, you'll rise. That's freedom. That's power. That's what rising repeatedly gives you. Now let's talk about the scars. Because rising leaves marks. Physical, emotional, spiritual. Every fall wounds you in some way. And every wound leaves a scar. Some people try to hide their scars. They're ashamed of them, embarrassed by them. They see them as evidence of failure, but that's wrong. Scars aren't evidence of failure. They're evidence of survival. They're proof that you were wounded and healed, that you faced something difficult and lived through it, that you fell and rose. Again and again, your scars are your credentials, your badges of honor, your proof that you're a warrior. Don't hide them. Don't be ashamed of them. Wear them proudly, because every scar tells a story of a battle fought, a challenge faced, a rise earned, and those stories matter. They shape who you are. They prove what you're capable of. They inspire others who are still in their battles. So embrace your scars. Thank them. Honor them. They're not weaknesses. They're strengths. Evidence that you're someone who rises. Someone who's been tested and proven. Someone who's faced darkness and found light. That's who your scars make you. And that's someone worth being. Let's also talk about timing. Because when you rise matters, some people rise immediately. They fall and pop right back up. No hesitation. No delay. Others take time. They fall and stay down for a while. Processing, healing, gathering strength, both are valid. Both are okay. Both are rising. Because rising isn't about speed. It's about commitment. It doesn't matter if you get up in 5 minutes or 5 months. What matters is that you get up. That you don't stay down permanently. That you refuse to let the fall be final. So if you're someone who needs time, take it. Don't rush your healing. Don't force your rise. Give yourself space to process, to feel, to understand what happened and why, but set a limit. Give yourself a timeline. Say, I'll take this time to heal, and then I'll rise because healing is necessary. But staying down forever isn't healing. It's hiding, and you're not someone who hides. You're someone who heals and then rises. So take the time you need, but not more than you need. Because the world needs you rising, not hiding. Here's another truth about rising: it gets easier. Not because the falls get softer, but because you get stronger. Your first major fall might devastate you. It might take months to recover. It might change everything. But your 10th major fall, you handle it differently. You're wiser now. More experienced. More resilient. You know the process. You trust your ability to recover. You've been here before and survived. So you rise faster. With more confidence. With less fear. That's the gift of repeated rising. It builds capacity, expands endurance, deepens trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in the process. Trust that no matter what happens, you'll handle it. You'll rise. You always do. You always will. That trust, that deep, unshakable trust in your ability to rise, is one of the most valuable things you can develop. Because with that trust, nothing can break you. Nothing can stop you. Nothing can keep you down. You might stumble. You might fall. You might get knocked flat, but you'll rise. Because that's what you do. That's who you are. That's your guarantee. Let's talk about the people who don't rise. Because understanding them helps you appreciate your own rising. Some people fall and stay down. They let one setback define their entire life. They build an identity around their fall. They become their failure. They live their wound and years pass. Opportunities pass. Life passes. And they're still there. Still down. Still stuck. Still telling the story of how they fell. Still wearing their victim badge. Still waiting for someone to rescue them. It's tragic. Because they had the power to rise all along. They just didn't use it. They didn't believe they could. Or they didn't want to do the work. Or they got comfortable being down. Don't let that be you. Don't let one fall become your permanent position. Don't let a temporary setback become a permanent identity. Don't let a moment of failure define a lifetime. You're more than your fall. You're more than your failure. You're more than your worst moment. You're someone who rises, who overcomes, who transforms setbacks into comebacks. That's your identity. That's your truth. That's your commitment. Not to never fall, but to always rise, no matter what. No matter when. No matter how hard you rise. Because that's what warriors do. That's what survivors do. That's what you do. Here's something powerful. Every time you rise, you rewrite your story. The fall becomes a chapter, not the conclusion. The setback becomes a plot twist, not the ending. Your story isn't over. It's just getting interesting. Because the best stories include struggle, challenge, falling and rising. Those are the stories that inspire, that move people, that matter. Nobody wants to read about someone who never faced adversity, who never fell, who never struggled. That's boring. That's unrealistic. That's not relatable. But someone who fell and rose, someone who struggled and overcame, someone who was broken and healed, that's a story worth telling. That's a life worth living. That's a person worth becoming, and that's you. Right now, writing that story, living that life, becoming that person, through every fall, through every rise, through every moment you choose to keep going. You're writing a story that will inspire others, that will give hope, that will prove that rising is possible. So make it a good story. Make it a true story. Make it a story of resilience and courage and unbreakable spirit. Make it a story about someone who refused to stay down, who kept rising, who never quit. That's your story. That's your legacy. That's what people will remember. Not that you fell, but that you rose, again and again and again. Finally, let's talk about the moment when rising becomes automatic, when it's no longer a decision but an identity. After rising enough times, something shifts. You stop questioning whether you'll rise. You just know you will. It's not even a choice anymore. It's just what you do. Like breathing, like existing. When you fall, you rise. Automatically, instinctively, without hesitation. That's when you know. You've become someone who rises. Not someone who tries to rise. Someone who rises. It's part of your DNA now. Woven into your character. Embedded in your identity. And once you reach that point, nothing can keep you down. Not failure. Not setback. Not obstacle. You fall, you rise. Simple as that. Every single time. Without exception, that's the ultimate power. That's the ultimate freedom. That's the ultimate victory. Not that you never fall, but that falling no longer scares you. Because rising is guaranteed. You're someone who rises. Always, forever, without question, that's who you are now. That's what you've become. That's your power. And that power, that automatic, instinctive, unshakable commitment to rising, will carry you through anything, any challenge, any setback, any storm. You'll rise through it all because that's what you do. That's who you are. That's your truth. You rise, and you keep rising, until you reach heights you never imagined possible, until you become someone you never dreamed you could be, until you live a life you never thought you'd have, all because you made one simple commitment, to always rise, no matter what. That commitment changed everything, and it will keep changing everything for the rest of your life. So keep that commitment, honor it, live it, be it. Rise today, tomorrow, forever. Rise when you're tired, rise when you're scared, rise when you're confused, rise when you're broken. Just rise, always rise. Never stop rising, because that's your way. That's your power. That's your promise to yourself, to your future, to the world. You are someone who rises, and nothing will ever change that truth. Rise again, and again, and again, because every rise brings you closer, closer to your dreams, closer to your purpose, closer to who you were always meant to be. And the world is waiting, waiting to see what you'll become, waiting to witness your transformation, waiting to be inspired by your rising. So give them something to witness. Show them what unstoppable looks like. Prove that rising is always possible, not because you're special, but because you're committed. Not because you're gifted, but because you refuse to stay down. That's your message. That's your mission. That's your legacy, a life of rising, a story of resilience, a testament to the unbreakable human spirit, your story, your life. Rise again, and claim everything that's waiting for you on the other side of this rise. This audiobook is a guide for those rebuilding themselves from the inside out. It's for the ones who refuse to quit, for the ones who keep showing up even when no one is watching, for the ones who choose focus over distraction, discipline over comfort, and faith over fear. If you've listened this far, you're one of those people. You're someone who's searching for more, who knows there's power within you waiting to be claimed, and you're right. That power exists. It's always existed. You already have everything you need inside you. You have the strength to endure, the courage to try, the resilience to rise. You have the discipline to show up, the focus to stay committed, the faith to trust the process. All of it is already there. You don't need to find it. You just need to access it, to activate it, to live it. And that starts with a decision, a simple, powerful decision. The decision to stop waiting, to stop doubting, to stop playing small. The decision to claim your power, to honor your potential, to trust yourself completely. That decision, made right now in this moment, changes everything. It shifts your energy. It clarifies your vision. It activates your purpose. Because once you decide that you're done settling, done hiding, done waiting, the universe responds. Opportunities appear. Doors open. Paths reveal themselves, not because the world changed, but because you did. You became someone who's ready, someone who's committed, someone who won't be stopped. And that version of you, and that decided, committed, unstoppable version, is magnetic. It attracts the right people, the right opportunities, the right circumstances. Everything you've been working toward starts moving toward you, because you're finally moving toward it with everything you've got. No more half efforts, no more excuses, no more waiting for perfect conditions, just full commitment, complete focus, unwavering belief. That's when transformation happens. That's when breakthroughs occur. That's when you rise into the life you were meant to live now. Rise again, not someday. Not when you're ready. Not when circumstances are perfect. Now, today, this moment. Make the decision. Take the first step. Begin the rise, because you've been preparing for this. Every challenge you've faced, every setback you've overcome, every moment you've persisted, all of it has been preparing you for this moment. The moment when you decide enough is enough. I'm done playing small. I'm done doubting myself. I'm done waiting. I'm rising. Starting now, and nothing is going to stop me. That's your declaration. That's your commitment. That's your power. And once you make that declaration, once you truly commit, everything changes. Your mornings become sacred. Your time becomes protected. Your energy becomes focused. You stop tolerating what doesn't serve you. You stop accepting less than you deserve. You stop apologizing for wanting more. You become someone who honors their word, who keeps their promises, who follows through, not perfectly, not flawlessly, but consistently, relentlessly, powerfully. And over time, that consistency compounds. That commitment builds. That power grows. Until one day you look around and realize your life is completely different, not because of one big moment, but because of thousands of small moments, thousands of choices, thousands of times you chose to rise. That's the secret. That's the path. That's how you build a life worth living, one choice at a time, one rise at a time, one day at a time. So if you're ready, if you're truly ready to claim your power, to honor your potential, to rise into who you're meant to be, start now. Make the decision now. Take the first step now. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for the new year. Don't wait for perfect clarity. The perfect time is now. The perfect place is here. The perfect version of you is the one who decides to start despite imperfection. That's courage. That's wisdom. That's power, and you have it. You've always had it. You just needed permission to use it. Consider this your permission, your invitation, your call to action. Rise now, today, this moment. Rise into your strength. Rise into your purpose. Rise into the life that's been waiting for you. Because the world needs what you're capable of becoming. The world needs your gifts, your voice, your light, but only you can give it. Only you can rise. Only you can make the decision, so make it. Right now. Decide that today is the day everything changes, not because circumstances changed, but because you changed. You decided. You committed. You rose, and that decision, that single powerful decision, is the beginning of everything. Your new life. Your new story. Your new identity. An identity of someone who rises. Someone who doesn't quit. Someone who keeps going no matter what. That's who you are now. That's who you're becoming. That's who you've always been. You just needed to remember, to reconnect, to rise, and now you have. So keep rising. Keep showing up. Keep honoring your commitment, because this isn't the end. This is the beginning of your transformation, your breakthrough, your rise. The world is waiting. Your future is waiting. Your best life is waiting. Now rise and claim it. Thank you for listening to this private Audiobooks original. If this message resonated with you, if it sparked something inside you, if it reminded you of your power, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because we rise together. We inspire together. We transform together. Your rise gives others permission to rise. Your courage activates their courage. Your commitment inspires their commitment, so rise, not just for you, but for everyone who's watching, everyone who's waiting, everyone who needs proof that rising is possible. Be that proof. Live that example. Embody that power. Rise again, and keep rising forever.